Hello, my name is Pat from Live About Languages, and in this video I'm going to be talking about making mistakes and how you need to start making more mistakes. Language learners, well, this applies to anything really, but we're here to talk about language learning, so let's talk about language learning. If you want to be a successful language learner, you have to get extremely comfortable with making mistakes. You need to get yourself in a state in which you actually enjoy making mistakes. You have to really turn the relationship you might have with mistakes on its head. And at present, most people in the world are not comfortable with making mistakes. Why are they not comfortable? The main reason I've found is that people have low self-esteem. Esteem coming from estimation, so they have a low estimation of themselves. They don't feel themselves truly to be worthy, which is why they avoid making the mistakes. They don't really feel they deserve to speak a foreign language fluently. They want to, of course they want to, everyone wants to. I mean, chances are if you're watching this video, you already speak one or two yourself, and it's the best thing, it's the best gift you can give yourself. It's fantastic. But at the start, I find a lot of people who are monolingual or only speak one language really struggle to put themselves in a position in which they are happy to make mistakes, and I feel that it's self-esteem that is preventing them from doing so. That's number one reason. They don't feel worthy. Number two, which kind of links into number one, so basically the same thing, is because of school. We're not trained to make mistakes and learn from them. We're trained to remember information, not to think about it, just to remember it. Here you go, here's the information, remember that, memorize that. If you're a good student, you'll remember all of that information, or as much of it as your brain will allow you to, and you'll get a good mark, and that means you're a good person, you're a good individual in society. Great, that's what we like. So at school, if you get bad grades, if you don't remember all these words on the page very well or in the correct order that the page or the teacher or the authority tells you to, then you're a bad student and you're bad. So at school, because we're not encouraged to actually learn skills, we're encouraged to remember things. What gets encouraged is remembering information, and the better you can remember it, the better you are, or the better your grade, which makes you better. This is another reason why people are not likely to have a good relationship with mistakes, is because they were punished for them at school. You make a mistake, you get a bad grade, your teacher's upset with you because now the teacher looks bad, and if the teacher looks bad, the school looks bad, if the school looks bad, school doesn't get money, and people lose their jobs, and it's all very fear-based. But my point is, you're not encouraged to make mistakes. And if you want to learn languages, you've got to be very, very comfortable with learning see, good example, made a mistake, but making as many mistakes as you can, because it's essential for learning. So that's the problem. So how do we solve that? How do we become good at making mistakes? And by that I mean, how do we change our relationship that we have with mistakes? You can do this in a couple of ways. One is by reframing mistakes. So when you're in a class, or even speaking to your teacher, your tutor, in a language class obviously, you can reframe the mistakes by thinking about them in terms of learning points rather than mistakes. When you make a mistake, when you say something wrong, you get that feeling of, oh God, oh no, that's wrong, oh. And we try and avoid that feeling. The reason why, essentially what it comes down to, is we're trying to avoid this emotion, we're trying to avoid this feeling of, oh no, oh I look silly. Because you did look silly when you were in school. People laughed at you. I remember being in French class, no one wanted to speak in French in school, because you say something wrong with an English accent, je voudrais, people are going to laugh at you, of course they are. And it's humiliating. And we bring that into the language classroom, and it's really not beneficial at all. If you want to learn a language, you've got to get really comfortable. You've got to enjoy it. You've got to be like, oh, there it is. There's that feeling of uncomfortable. Oh no, I've made a mistake. And you embrace it and you go, okay, thank you. Your teacher corrects you. You don't listen to the mind. Don't pay attention to, oh, these thoughts of, oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, I should have known that. That's probably my favourite one people come up with. Oh, I should have known that. Really? You, an English person born in, let's say, Brighton, raised in Brighton, have lived there for 50 years, you should have known how to say this verb in Spanish. Yeah, that doesn't quite add up. That is an egoic thought. That's a thought which you've been conditioned to have from school, which is basically saying, oh, I'm not comfortable with making the mistake. Get comfortable with that feeling, and this, it takes a while, okay? It's not going to happen after 1 or 2 lessons. You'll feel a bit uncomfortable, but hopefully if you've got a nice tutor as well, who's very welcoming and helpful and corrects you in an appropriate way, which a lot of teachers don't do because they've got a big ego as well, and some of them actually enjoy correcting people and say, no, you're wrong. So it takes some skill on the part of the teacher as well. But the main thing is for you to not demonize these mistakes. You've got to fall in love with them. You've got to realize every mistake I make is a learning point, and it's actually your brain being reconditioned. Your brain is going, oh, it's not like that in English. Okay, let me just accept how it is. And the more times you do this, the more times you get comfortable with that feeling, the more mistakes you will make. But also, the more mistakes you make could be up here, but you speaking correctly will be up here. Okay, that's the big difference. You make mistakes, your mistake gauge is here, you only make, I don't want to make too many mistakes, I'll just stick to what I know, I won't ask too many questions. You'll stay here. Great, comfortable, nice, yeah. Your progress, it'll be here, maybe a bit above if you're lucky. If you get comfortable with making mistakes, once you change the way you see them, you'll make this amount. In a 45 1-hour class, you'll make a lot of mistakes, but your progress, it'll be off the screen. That's what I encourage you to do. Change your relationship with mistakes. And if you've liked this video, then obviously give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel because I'm actually going to be uploading to it now, yay, and do the bell notification thing as well so you know when I put a new video up. And yeah, thank you for watching, take care.